Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson releasing the list of Obama White House officials who may have had a role in unmasking former General Micheal Flynn. Now, those included are former DNI James Clapper, former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI Director James Comey, and presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky saying it's clear Biden used the government to go after a political opponent.
If Vice President Biden and the president's inner circle of advisors were all listening to a senior Trump administration advisor's private phone conversation, this would amount to a serious abuse of power. The only question remains is, what did President Obama know and when did he know it?
Senator Paul is now calling on Acting Director of National Intelligence Richard Grenell to testify on the matter before the Senate next week. One America's Jack Posobiec breaks down today's developments.
Yes, that's right. Well, today the Trump administration released a list of about 17 names that were involved in the unmasking of General Micheal T. Flynn. Now, to put this in perspective for everybody, this came during the course of the transition period, over the period of about a couple of months from November through the end of January, just starting after the election and then going all the way through to even early in the Trump administration. All of these requests were made using the intelligence unmasking process, which is a process by which U.S. persons that have been caught up in NSA surveillance are then able to be unmasked so that their identities can be known by principals who do have the authority to conduct this unmasking. Under U.S. Executive Order 12333, the U.S. intelligence community is not permitted to use their resources and capabilities against U.S. persons. However, if there is incidental collection, for example, in this case, the calling of a U.S. person by Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, that identity would then be caught up in the NSA network. That is the reason for the declassification here today. But the other point, the bigger point is, why were all of these individuals unmasking General Flynn? The names on the list are going to sound very familiar to people back home. We're talking James Clapper, Jim Comey, John Brennan, and of course, Dennis McDonough, the chief of staff to Barack Obama, and none other than Joseph R. Biden, the vice president of the United States. We know that during this time period, Joe Biden also traveled to Ukraine. We're now looking at whether or not A.G. Barr and John Durham are going to get to the bottom of an investigation of who leaked the name of General Flynn and the contents of his phone call to the media, which later wound up in a column by David Ignatius of the Washington Post. That is an absolute violation of U.S. law and a violation of the civil rights of General Flynn. General Flynn's case has been dropped by the Department of Justice, and he is currently waiting for the judge to rule on his motion to end this trial.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.